Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Monday Madness. Hey, welcome, folks, friends, whoever is going to be lurking, whoever watches the replay later, and especially you people that are here with us live. And speaking of live people, how about my great co-host, the man who does all these graphics, amazing, the basketball, I guess, nerd of nerds? Is that, can we say that? With all love and respect around here, one of my great sports buddies that rare on YouTube, on anywhere around Twitter these days, the great Woopah Troopah. Hey, Woopah.
Hello. Hey, I gotta go real quick. I just got an alert that Dadman Walking went live on Twitch, so I'm gonna go watch him real quick. See ya.
Oh, okay, cool, excellent. Well, thank you. Hey, Woopah, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Was very. It's been a interesting week at work. Interesting day today. Got some stuff done. Definitely. Was an interesting weekend. Watched a lot of the games. It's funny. Like Friday, I didn't really watch much, but then you keep up with this. The scores and stuff. You hear about it later. Then you have the thing about the games that you wish you had watched that you'd missed, and then the games that you spent time in that you're like, why did I do that? So, but overall pretty good though. Start of another work week. Got a lot of streams coming up. Busy this week too around here. Because you and I will talk XFL football again on Friday night. So, and I'll talk about some of the others that I'm going to be doing soon too coming up. But how are you doing? How are you doing in general? And what do you think of this first weekend of basketball before we greet the chat out there?
Oh, there's a lot of very interesting games. A lot of stuff didn't necessarily go how you expected it. A lot of close games. Also some blowouts that were pretty surprising too. Altogether, I think we were hoping that this would be an exciting March Madness, and it definitely has been so far.
Absolutely. Well, let's say hi to the people that are here with us. We got two people watching with us, and hey, we love it. Thank you, everybody. Of course, the great bear from the north, the great polar bear, Troopah Cuber. Hello, humans and other critters. 'Tis the bear spending a final few moments of consciousness with you. Where are the snacks? And then I guess you said hello back to Comrade Bear. And unfortunately, Troopah got basketball confused with brisket ball, but hey, we can talk brisket, can't we, Woopah?
I've always enjoyed talking about brisket. I prefer eating it, though. I can say that.
Well, I told Troopah I'd throw some halibut and seal on the menu, so that's awesome.
There you go.
Well, speaking of, go ahead.
I say we do accommodate for our friends.
Exactly. Speaking of fish, the missus made an awesome fish cod last night. She had made mahi before, but made cod last night, just a pan fried with basic salt and pepper seasoning. Oh my God, that was some really, really good fish. So, as Troopah says, nom nom. Yes, absolutely. And let me say hello to someone else out there, the great OG Sammy P. How are you, Sammy?
Ooh.
Good to see you tonight. He's over on the Twitch side. Hey, folks, don't forget we got the Twitch side. Follow us over there. Get your friends. I'm 74 followers on Twitch. Let's get one more. We'll have 75. I know, Sammy, you know some sports people. Maybe they'll come. But on the YouTube side, like the video, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. We're 178 on the YouTube side. So we need 2 more on the YouTube side for 180. 1 on the Twitch side for 75. It's kind of crazy. So, but thank you all for your support, whether you watch live, you lurk, or, watch the replay. So, hey, it's always appreciated. Just make sure you hit like and subscribe and comment on both sides. So, and we'll kind of use this to get into and we'll cover these. Sammy said there was a lot of games that made me think, how did they beat that team? Yeah, please do, Sammy. I know you said he's a sport, so absolutely. Thank you. But yeah, I'm sorry, Woopah, go ahead.
I was to say there was a lot of that. There was a lot of games too that I think, you just saw two teams. Going into it, you maybe didn't expect them to win, but when you saw it, they looked like two evenly matched teams.
Mm-hmm. And there were some games that were like that you know, I kind of got a surprise halfway through the game. Then all of a sudden, it's like the second half reversed, and it was like, what happened? So it's
Yeah, we had a few of those.
yeah, exactly. I
A
mean,
few close games turned to blowouts real quick.
yeah, I tell you, because I thought one of our other number one seeds was going to go down, especially after the way they struggled in the first round game as against a 16 seed. But hey, they advanced. But we'll get into that a little bit more. So, though it's any other general thoughts that you have before we spoil the surprises and we get into all the brackets and all the detail?
Nothing really. I think we'll get into everything I want to say once we start looking at the bracket.
Mm-hmm. And I think we'll look through it all, and then we'll talk about after we do that. Then we can talk about like our biggest surprise. Kind of reveal everything. Then we can talk about what may have been our biggest surprise or what we didn't see coming or was disappointing. So, all right. Well, Woopah, with that note, I'll bring the slides up. Of course, our
Yes.
typical Monday slide, Monday Madness with Dadman and Woopah Troopah. And so
Heck
everything
yeah.
you're going to see is what Woopah has created to entertain us. And if you were with us last week, these graphics are first class.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
Absolutely. So, which region are we going to start with tonight?
So we're gonna start with we're starting with the first four actually.
Yes.
Just recap these quickly.
You forget about them very often, and how could I forget them this year?
Right. You shame on you, sir.
Exactly. Shame.
But so the first matchup we had was Texas A&M Corpus Christi versus SEMO. I was hoping for SEMO to make it because they're my guys, very close to home. But it was a close game actually,
It was.
but in the end, did not work out for SEMO, and Texas A&M Corpus Christi took it home.
You're right, because it was a pretty close game. I thought Corpus Christi was going to pull away, but then SEMO pulled closer. It was nip and tuck till the final couple minutes. And hey, Brian Hepburn, glad you're here with us. Thank you. Y'all share it out, tweet it out, get the word out, and we'll have some fun. We just got our first game here. Yeah, this was an interesting game, though. I think. I mean, for a first four match, it was pretty competitive the whole way.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I know I picked SEMO, but honestly, I just picked them because I thought they were. I have to support the home state schools. I don't think anyone really expected them to make it a close game. I think, the Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson, that was expected to be a much closer game because both of those were kind of teams that have been in before. This was kind of expected to be given to Corpus Christi, so that was a little bit of a surprise there to go down the list.
Yep. Because you would expect some balance between these teams. I mean, it wasn't like Texas Southern was, a 5-win team. One of those teams that luckily won their conference tournament. But Fairleigh Dickinson's the one that got in because the league winner was ineligible. Correct?
Yeah, they did not actually win their tournament. They just were the runners-up. So, and I do think they were the regular. Well, no, I think Merrimack was also. They were second place in the finals and second place in the regular season. So,
yeah. So yeah, it was interesting. I will tell you this. That win made things to come very interesting.
Oh,
but
yeah,
we'll get to that soon.
Yep.
So on the other side of the first four, we have some bigger schools, I guess.
Yeah, we had these were the 2 11 seeds, the guys who just made it in the at-large bid. Pitt beat Mississippi State in a close one. No team really ever pulled out ahead by too much. So that was kind of interesting. I think a lot of people expected Pitt to run away with it, but they didn't in the end. And on the other side, Arizona State and Nevada, Arizona State just crushed it from the very start. So that was not much of an interesting game to watch there.
No, it's not. It was not. So yeah, it's that one got ugly pretty quickly. But that Mississippi State Pittsburgh was kind of interesting. It really looked like a you know kind of a cruddy game with a 60-59 slugfest. But like I'd said with Mississippi State, they're the team that they were one of those borderline SEC schools. Whether they deserve to be in or not, and their offensive production was not necessarily the best this year. Pittsburgh, though, kind of surprised me. I mean, I expected, as you remember last week, I thought Pittsburgh was going to go on a good run. But coming in a first four game like this and only scoring 60 again, it did not bode well to me. When I saw the way this game turned out, I started getting nervous about Pitt.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State played better than I expected, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I figured this would probably be a blowout, but in the end, Mississippi State played it close, which I guess they justified their spot in the tournament there somewhat, at least. I mean, technically the first four isn't the tournament, but I always consider it the tournament. If just because it's outside of the normal bracket, if you're playing in it, you're playing for the tournament, as far as I consider it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting, the history, like we talked about last week, of, there was 64 teams, then they added a 65th. Then when a conference moved up to get an automatic berth, they had to expand the field to eventually 68. And now we have the first four game instead of the 65-64 play-in game,
Yeah. So, I think it's I don't know how I feel about the first four.
well, I think after this week we may have, there might be a reason to keep it around. So
maybe.
Yeah, but folks, hey, listen, we're talking some March Madness tonight. If you got questions about basketball, just in like rules or just general basketball questions, we'll try to field whatever we can. Let's have a conversation. You like the mascots, that's cool too. You like the colors, that's cool too. If you watch some of the games and you have thoughts, be sure to share it with us, and we'll take the comments. We'll have some fun with it, and we'll chill out together, and we'll talk about what we saw this last weekend. So yeah, because I've always been mixed on the first four, because we got two blowouts and two pretty good games. So
yeah, I always just wonder about, as every conference gets their automatic bid, it's always just, to me, it's like, well, how come some conferences' automatic bid aren't as automatic as other people's? I just always think that's a little weird.
Yeah, and I tell you, some of the other schools, you have the conferences where, when the like the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC, the largest conferences get 8, 9, 10 into the tournament, that means there's fewer bids available for the mid majors and the smaller conferences. For those teams that have a great season, but then happen to lose their in the conference tournament. So. Yeah. It's always a debate that goes on between the, who should be in, who should be out.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways, it can make. I feel like there's a good amount of teams that deserve a bid, but don't get it because, well, they're from a mid-major conference.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little. It can get a little dicey sometimes, I think.
Yeah, and that's when, do they deserve it or not? Yeah, I know, and because that's always the question is, well, but then again, just because you're a larger conference doesn't make it automatic either that you deserve it. Because, for instance, we've got the case where the big conference teams come in and they just lay an egg. They may have been overseeded or whatever, but they came in and promptly went out. Like, I'm thinking about, like, specifically some of your 5th and 6th SEC teams that come in, and just they come in like a team like Mississippi State. There's so much debate and concern and questions about them. Well, then why not maybe a 29-7 team from a mid-major conference?
No, I agree, and I think you get a lot of that stuff too, or even you get some of these teams like Mississippi State that kind of make it in because based on preseason predictions. Meanwhile, you have Vanderbilt. This reminds me, I needed to check the NIT before this. But Vanderbilt was hot at the end of the season, did really well, got a top 4 in the regular season, but didn't get the bid. Instead, here's a rather lackluster Mississippi State, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Very lackluster Mississippi State.
So,
yeah,
and I was looking.
Wade's coming in saying hi to us. Oh, sorry, you're still sick. Hey, you take care. And he says, "Hi to you too, Woopah.
Hello,
hope you
Wade.
get better."
Yeah, I was just looking because you've got teams to Oklahoma State and Vanderbilt are still in the NIT, the final. I don't know what they call. I guess they're just called the quarterfinals. They don't have any fancy names for it.
Well, we had that debate. Would Vanderbilt get in? They'd beaten Kentucky twice down the stretch. I mean, they may not have had. I don't remember their record compared to Mississippi State, but they were hotter. They were playing better, and that's used to be
better opponents too.
Yeah, and that's one of the factors that they used to consider in all this. But apparently, they, for some reason, chose Mississippi State over Vanderbilt. I don't know why, but hey, it's what it is. It's can't blame them for everything because they did do a lot right. So hey, all righty. So that's it for the first 4. How are we doing so far? All righty. Yep. We're going to the South. All right. Hey, folks, don't forget to leave your comments and questions in the chat. Have some fun with us. If you don't know anything about basketball, let us know. If you want to call it brisket ball, hey, we're all for brisket because I need another snack in a little bit too anyway. So, hey, thank you, everybody, for being here. All right, Woopah. So we're in the South now.
Yeah, there was a little bit of action here. Not as much as I was hoping for. Well, I don't know. I guess about as much as I was hoping for. So I think let's just knock out the top part first. Maryland, West Virginia was the first game of the tournament. It was actually a pretty close back and forth game, but Maryland pulled it out. And then obviously Alabama kicked Texas A&M Corpus Christi's butt and kicked Maryland's butt. They've been dominant the whole time. Don't really show any signs of stopping right now. But that went by that quickly because what was really interesting was the second part here. San Diego State and Charleston. San Diego State did pull out the win, which somewhat busted me and Dadman's brackets a bit.
Yep.
But it was a close game. Charleston led for the first 10 minutes. And even going into like the last minute 20, Charleston was tied with San Diego State. They just pulled away in the end. And then fouls will skew the score and make it look less close than it was. But this was right down to the wire. And San Diego State escaped with that. But something happened to that 4-13 matchup, Dadman. I don't know if you were aware.
Don't trust Virginia. Don't trust Virginia. Oh, man. We knew it was coming. We just didn't expect it in the first round.
Yeah. What is this? This is it 4 of the last 5 tournaments Virginia's been in? They've been upset by a double-digit seed.
Yeah, I know at least twice that they have. And then one time that they didn't, they actually won the championship. So it's
that's the funny thing is they got one championship, and the rest of the time I think they lost in the first round to a double-digit seed. So
hey, enjoy that one championship.
It's one or the other, you know.
Yeah. Feast or famine.
I saw a funny tweet about this I'll mention later too. But
okay.
Yeah, Virginia, and you saw how they lost, right? In that last minute.
Well, go ahead and describe it to us. I do, but I think you'll do a better job of describing it than what I did.
So, Virginia had possession with, I guess, 13 seconds left, and you got the 10-second violation. You stay in the backcourt for over 10 seconds. The other team gets the ball, so they inbound the ball, and we're trying to get it up court. And it was getting close to 10 seconds. point guard who inbounded the ball just, I guess, panicked and thought, I have to get it out. So he just threw the ball up to no one. A Furman player went under it, caught it, instantly passed it to a guy from the 3-point line who chucked up a three with 2 seconds left and nothing but net. Put them up by one, and that was pretty much the game right there. 2 seconds
Wow.
left. Virginia wasn't able to get anything off, which is just crazy to lose like that.
Wow. Yeah, that is a heartbreaking way to lose for the season, and that because now it's win or go home, and lose it like that in that kind of dramatic fashion at the end was just not definitely not a I like to give Virginia a hard time. It's one of those basketball schools I like to pick on a lot because of the track record, but yeah, you feel for the kids and stuff like that and the fans after such a season and earning a fourth seed to go home, and especially it's one thing to get beat, especially if you get beat bad, but it's another thing when you lose in such a kind of a crazy or goofy way like that was. So
yeah, and to be, I mean, not a buzzer beater, but pretty close to it. I think they had 2.2 seconds left. It's like that'll just drain the air out of you.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck with 2 seconds. Yeah, period. Need a lot of help on that one. So, but yeah, I mean, so the top half of the South has been set. We got Alabama and San Diego State to meet in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, sadly, I was hoping that San Diego State and Furman game was going to be a little bit more competitive, but San Diego State really ran away with it. I was hoping, I was pulling for Furman in the Sweet 16.
It was actually early. It was fairly close. Furman had a lead, I think, within the first 10 minutes, but then San Diego State opened it up before the half, and obviously the second half just exploded. Kept the pressure on and kept extending the lead, as I like to tell my kids, and when I coach, is extend that lead. So, but hey, all right. So we got the South, the top half of the South. So now we got the second half of the South to recap. All righty. So.
Oh, I just realized I made an error here.
Yeah, it's okay. It all happens. It's good. It's okay. But it was 73-72, but Creighton did hold on, right?
Yeah, Creighton won. It was 63-72. That's where I forgot to change to the 7. So
a 9-point win by Creighton. Yeah. But a solid win for Creighton. I think we'll see how our picks came out of it at the end. But, it's, 6 seed holds serve against 11 seed. As we talk about, all these 11 seeds seem to be the last teams into the tournament. So, it's funny. You see more 12 or 15 seeds of upset 2s than you ever see 11s beating 6s. It's kind of crazy. Then Woopah's Baylor Bears take on the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara, and first round had an easy 18-point win.
Well, this was actually a little bit
it was closer than the score indicated.
Well, at the half, Santa Barbara was actually up by 1. It's like,
oh my gosh.
Then Baylor finally put it together and started to put some distance on the second half.
Yeah, and that happens. That happens in so many of these matchups. We're going to see other games where that happen, especially one big game that I was kind of hoping would go a different direction, but it didn't. So
we'll see. Mizzou and Utah State, they had this planned the game, and one of my coworkers was very angry. I mean, he's happy that Mizzou won. He's not happy he called off today. I don't know if he's still mourning.
Yeah.
But he was apparently the Utah State players, according to him, they were very whiny. Everything, they wanted calls for everything. They kept pleading to the ref, and he was not having it. He was pretty ticked off. Said, just play the game. Mizzou did a good job in that game. But then you get this 2-15 matchup, Arizona and Princeton. And
Mm-hmm.
Fun story. There was this one girl who made her bracket in our league, and she asked us for advice. Um, and she pretty much just picked a bunch of random stuff. And she said, "Yeah, I've got Princeton beating Arizona." One of my coworkers said, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." So she changed it.
That's too funny. Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
I see. That's another one that I wanted to call, but I just didn't have the guts to. I just figured it
Mhm.
was too obvious. One of those things where you actually outthink yourself instead of just going with what you think or using the force.
No, I mean, if you go back and watch our last video, we both talked about Arizona and Virginia. I mean, we didn't pick either of them to make the Sweet 16. I think it's just when you're looking at that early matchup, you're like, well, I don't know if that's the one that I would pick.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, it's gutsy to call the upsets, and there's plenty of upsets that you call that end up not happening. It's just kind of how it goes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Uh, no, that was a pretty interesting one. And what I was talking about with a tweet, someone who was an Arizona fan after Virginia's loss tweeted out and said, "Thank you, Virginia, for taking away the mantle of worst upsets that Arizona's had for a while." And then shortly after they lost this game, and I thought,
But I
oh,
will I will still say that this win, this upset was not uh, Princeton here though. She's yep. But I will say losing to Princeton is not anything like losing to Maryland, Baltimore County. That was,
yeah.
I mean, that was probably even worse than what we're going to see in a little bit. So because that was
Mm.
different. But
But yeah, then we had Creighton uh, beat Baylor in the second round. We never were too close, which was sad. I never got too carried away, but it was
mm-hmm.
Keontae George, our best player. He got hurt in the end of the regular season, and he just hasn't been the same player. I think he's been playing a little hurt.
Yeah.
Uh, which respect to him, he was a great player, but I think you could tell that he wasn't himself, and that was very important to the Baylor club.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Princeton
Yep. Yay,
playing a
Princeton.
pretty commanding victory over Mizzou. Mizzou fans were not happy about that, but that game, uh, I think, was double digits at the half and never really got better.
It just
So
widened it as the game went along. I mean, Princeton did what the underdog should do, which is to keep extending that lead. You don't
yeah,
let the bigger talent, or higher seeded team, get back into it. You keep extending the lead, you pushing it out. Well, that's part of Missouri. They picked a bad day to go cold,
yep.
shooting the ball and stuff like that. So let me say hi to the great. This is Dadman walking. Hey everyone, go Princeton. Yeah, no, I tell you what, if Vanderbilt had made an attempt at the tournament, she would have all been all over Vanderbilt. So, but Vanderbilt
Well,
got left out.
I always root for Vanderbilt for everything. No,
Mm-hmm.
I want them to succeed.
Yes, exactly. So,
But yeah, I mean, Princeton played well.
yeah.
I think that they could make it. They could make it back-to-back years with 15 seeds in the Elite Eight would be pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But if they keep playing like this, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm actually, it's funny. I'm trying to watch my, let's see, there you go. I'm actually looking at things. Hey, it's kind of funny. The StreamYard is kind of being kind of weird tonight.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the up top, that's not a right number tonight. It's like, but I'll tell you more later. It's kind of funny. But yes,
Okay.
Vanderbilt. Yeah, we love. Why am I saying love Vanderbilt? I should hate Vanderbilt for what they did to the Gators in football.
Hey,
Oh
if
God.
you can't beat Vanderbilt, that's on you guys. That's not
Hey,
on
I want
Vanderbilt.
a
That's
new
on you.
coach. I want a new coach.
Hey,
He had one
that's
season too
positive.
many. I just we finally got rid of the inconsistent quarterback that for whatever reason they think is going to be a number one draft pick. Which why I don't understand that mentality of somebody that throws a Hail Mary 40 rows into the stands, hits the goalpost with throws, because he does one game where he throws for 300, 400 yards. I mean, I don't get why the NFL drafts the way it does, but that's a different matter. But yes, we got Princeton. Yay, brain power. Yay, Ivy League. So, all right. All right, so that sets us up for the Elite Eight from the South. It's Alabama, San Diego State, Creighton, and Princeton. Kind of an odd set of teams, I would say.
Yeah,
Not so much at Alabama and San Diego State, but with Creighton, a 6th seed, and Princeton, a 15th seed. This is really an odd matchup coming out.
hmm yeah. I think it's interesting. Alabama was surprising, but I think the other three spots. I mean, certainly Princeton you didn't expect to get in, but I don't. I think Creighton and San Diego State were both kind of people didn't. They weren't shoe-ins. People didn't definitely
Mm-hmm.
think they were going to make it out of there. So
Yep, exactly. So, and now we move to the East.
yeah, we got the first game. I'm sure I know that you were hinting about it earlier, Dadman.
Mm-hmm. The second time, and it's second time since the field has been expanded to where there's 16 seeds in each region. Second time the 16th seed is knocked off a number one seed. Fairleigh Dickinson takes out Purdue 63-58.
Yeah, this was a fun one to watch. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't watch all of it. I watched the end of it. Uh, but wow, I mean, that was not something I expected. I didn't have the highest regards for Purdue. I thought they should have been a 2 seed and UCLA should have been the 1 seed, but I figured they'd beat Fairleigh Dickinson and I think that's the first play in 16 seed that won.
Yeah.
And this was what I thought was so funny at the end. First of all, Purdue had some questionable hero ball at the end. But also my favorite part was I think with 5 seconds left, the Purdue coach called a timeout and was like
Mm-hmm.
drawing up a play. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what play you have in your playbook to get a 5-point play in like this short a time span. I think you're kind of screwed there.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, kind of. But hey, they're trying. They're
yeah,
going down with the ship.
props to the coach. He didn't stop trying.
Well, you know what? That makes me think this, and we need to notice going as we can come back to it after we preview all the brackets. But a number one seed Big Ten team going down, and I think quite a few other matchups where the Big Ten teams have lost. I'm curious to see when we're done looking at these two rounds how many Big Ten teams are still left in the tournament. So we
Yeah,
will
it'll be
see.
interesting to look at.
I mean, I always focus on the SEC. Well, we can see at least two SEC teams are advancing to the Sweet 16. So that's pretty good for a conference like that. So the Memphis Florida Atlantic game, Florida Atlantic squeaks that out. What did you think of that one?
That was I kind of think, and I don't care about either of these teams. I only care because it cost me a prediction point. But I kind of think Memphis got screwed in the end, and I know Penny Hardaway thought so too. I think he got in trouble because he launched a water bottle at someone. But there was a loose ball on the floor, and people were diving for it. And from what it seems to me, Memphis had the ball. Player got the ball and had possession of it. But I guess the refs lost track of it and called it a jump ball. And Florida Atlantic had the possession arrow. And off of that play, Florida Atlantic scored a 2, and that was the end of the game. This was all within the last 20 seconds. So it was a pretty big deal. Pretty much won the game for Florida Atlantic right there. Very controversial.
But I will tell you, as someone that has officiated live, kids, I tell you what, you think these games are hard. I mean, trying to officiate middle schoolers and even high schoolers can be rough sometimes, and trying to keep up with them and be in the right position. A lot of times it's about position and stuff and concentration. I've had it happen before where even though I'm trying to be focused, whatever, just something happens and something slips your concentration. You miss something, and in that case, most times you have to default to a jump ball if you're not sure, or if the other officials missed it too. That's why, at least if the officials ask for help from other officials, then they've done their job. If nobody saw it or could make the call, then you go jump ball. And if they're all in agreement that nobody saw it, that's one thing. I mean, it can be frustrating when it goes against you, but I mean, what do you do? There's not much other choice you have. The you know, but you also hope that an official who does see it will come in and help and make the call for the other one. But sometimes egos get involved. Sometimes they really didn't see it, but it really is a hard job to officiate. It's although these guys did get paid and that's what they do, and they've been doing it a long time. Yeah, you should be getting it right. And then, of course, Duke put away my sweetheart Oral Roberts. So
yeah, and Tennessee actually struggled against the Raging Cajuns, which was not a good sign. But surprisingly enough, they took care of business against Duke pretty handily. A lot of the second round matchups, any of my knowledge of that is on the radio because I was pretty busy those days.
Yeah.
So the only time I could catch the games is when I turned on this ESPN, and it was a little closer than it would seem, but probably about 10 minutes out, Tennessee just started pouring it on them, and it got out of hand pretty quickly from there.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to Sports Animal out of Knoxville, the Tennessee flagship station, and it's amazing how much grief their coach has gotten, Rick Barnes has gotten, in spite of having several good seasons. Because I mean, I guess this season there were times when they lost that people were wanting him fired and stuff like that. Because I heard the announcers talking about that like the people are crazy, but of course it's Tennessee, so what do you expect? Love you, Geeky, even if you're still out there. But yeah, and Wade, you Tennessee people, say nothing but love, as Will Smith would say. But it just. I'm like, hey, you guys want to fire your basketball coach? I'd love to have him in Gainesville, please. I'd like to have a real basketball coach. I'd like to have a real football coach. Did I tell you that? But
I think you mentioned it once or twice.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Oh man, but yeah, it's just amazing that the pressure that happened, and a game like that does nothing but get people talking more. But even as a Gator fan, when the Gators were good back in the early 2000s, the Billy Donovan teams, and even predating the national champ back-to-back squad, they struggled in some of those early rounds. I remember a game against Butler. It took Mike Miller on a lunging jump shot in the lane to put away Butler. And that's before Butler had ascended and become a powerhouse and things like that. So it's just, what people lose sight of is this time of year, it is lose or go home. You may be a high seed, but you know what? You darn well just a win's a win. I know Tennessee probably hated a 3-point win over a 13th seed, but you know what? You've won, and you move on, you advance, and that's the name of the game at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think a lot of these games kind of, not all of them, but a lot of them kind of said, just because you struggle in one game won't mean you struggle in the other one. There's a couple teams that you thought, oh, well, they're primed for an upset if they play like that, and next thing you know, they dominate in the next game.
Yep.
And you had FAU did take down Farley Dickinson, sadly.
It was close. I think even in the second half, Fairleigh Dickinson tried to make a run, but FAU just pulled away. They just had too much for the Knights.
Yeah, it was closer than you'd expect, but it was still in the end. I guess what you'd expect, but not what I was hoping for.
Absolutely. And coming
16 seed in the Sweet 16 would have been epic, especially one that was from the play-in game.
Exactly. I mean, that's one more game they had to play and to win to get to advance. I'm just curious with this Tennessee team though, because they dispatched Duke pretty easily at the end. I mean, it was back and forth a little bit. Second half, Duke pushed them some, but Tennessee pulled away at the end. It was crazy to watch. I mean, Tennessee started hitting some threes near the end, and just pulled away to fairly easy win in the end. But I think his name's Ziegler, their point guard that blew his knee out a few weeks ago. I just wonder how much better Tennessee would be if they were fully, had the full roster with them. Because they had mentioned about that in this game, You
Oh yeah,
know,
they talked about it a lot, and
yeah.
they've kind of had a point guard by committee, kind
Hmm.
of like. I guess they don't really have like I don't know who their new point guard is. I know they were just saying, yeah, the kind of their. I think they said their power forward or one of their forwards and one of their guards because I guess basketball doesn't have as much of set positions as uh, main NBA basketball, but one of their forwards and one of their guards were kind of taking the ball handling duties.
Hmm. I'm trying to look at that real quick. I know it won't be Squirrel White, who's the one of their wide receivers. Oh shoot, I'm in the wrong game here. But yeah, it's actually affected them. I think that's what affected them in the SEC tournament too. You know, because they went out earlier than they had planned. You know, than people had planned. You know, wanted them to. Olivier Kamahoa uh,
Bless
was yeah 27 points, 10 of 13 shooting for Tennessee,
you.
4 or 5 free throws. He was on fire. Uh, So they just, I mean, that guy was not. The guy took over the game in the second half. I mean,
Mhm.
Tennessee was hit 9 3-pointers. Duke hit 6. Really, only only 20 free throws attempts between the two teams. So yeah, and hey, Mrs., thank you for lurking. All you lurkers out there, hey, we'll have brisket. But yeah, if you got comments, throw it out if you got questions about the game. But yeah, lurk away. If you do have questions, that's cool. Yeah, it did look like they got Mashak, Vescovi, and James as their 3 guards. So it's they I'm more familiar with Vescovi since he's been around a few years. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, you know this time of year you need a distributor. You need a consistent just distributor of the ball to run your offense and to function. Sometimes you can have forwards and all work together to replace a point guard, but to me that would be a concern for Tennessee coming down the stretch, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh, excuse me. Sorry, yawn came out of
no
nowhere.
problem. Yeah.
I think when you start to get further along, having that full strength team is going to be more important. I
Hmm.
mean, look at Baylor and Keontae George. They didn't need him really to beat the 14th seed, but when you hit the 6th seed,
Yep.
uh, they sure needed him. But
Hmm. Yep.
it is what it is.
Yes, it is. All right. So we'll have an FAU Tennessee matchup in the top part of the East, and so we've got the East second half. Kentucky dispatched Providence in the first round. Again, 11 seeds, kind of marginal being in the tournament, so no surprise there. Kansas State, well, that looks like a fairly close game. I didn't watch it, so it could be one of those where the score got closer towards the end. But a 3-14 game. Kansas State, Battle of the Cats. K-State wins.
Yeah, that was a lot of these first round games were pretty much all the teams that were supposed to win won. The
Mm-hmm,
second round was where it got real interesting. I again wasn't able to watch any of these, but I listened to this on the radio, and it was one I really wished I watched because
mm-hmm.
the announcers were pretty much in awe for the last 5 minutes or so. Kentucky went on a streak of about 3 minutes without scoring. Kansas
Against,
State
yeah.
was taking th- real deep threes.
Mm-hmm,
Marquise Noel apparently was just doing heat checks. He shot a 27-footer that went in. Uh, and some guy, I forget, they were down by 1, and some guy who to that point had only taken 1 shot the entire game put up a deep 3, probably around NBA line,
mm-hmm.
and made it. And that was a big surprise. And then I think they had 7 possessions where they took 4 threes. Or no, 7 possessions where they took 6 threes and made 4 of them. It was just very and from that point on, Kentucky never
Mm-hmm.
really got back.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because I watched that game down the wire, and it was Kentucky had a lead. They had a little bit of an advantage. and then all of a sudden they went cold. When they went cold, Kansas State took the lead, and then Kentucky couldn't catch up again. They could never get hot and make up ground on K State. And like you said, K State was hitting some interesting shots.
Yeah,
So,
they were feeling it, and
yep.
I know Kentucky had one of their best players go one for 15 shooting, so that's really probably what killed them there.
Yep, that'll kill you. Well, I think the lower part of this half of Michigan State, the Trojan War, as we called it, the Spartans outlasted the men of Troy, and then Marquette. They put away the Catamounts, or they moved, win pretty easily. But it was that second round matchup with Sparty and Marquette that I'm like, holy crap, because I've always, especially still with basketball, there's big conferences versus mid majors. Marquette, I think, was Big East. It used to be really considered a big conference, but not as much because of all the transitions and stuff. But Big Ten power, traditional Spartans, and I thought that they pretty much dominated this game. 9 points probably doesn't describe how well they played to beat them. So
no, it was a lot of. This one wasn't really a lot of back and forth. Marquette sometimes got close, but for the most part, you were looking at a 5 to 10 point lead somewhere in between there for pretty much the entire game. Every time you thought Marquette might start heating up, Michigan State called back. So,
absolutely. All right. Well, that's the East. So in the East, we have Tennessee. We have Michigan State, Kansas State. We have Tennessee and FAU. This is really, we thought the bottom half of the first one was kind of odd of the South, but this one is overall kind of the odd one. You see a lot of times the third seed like Kansas State or 4 seed Tennessee's, but having Michigan State and FAU 7 and 9 seeds advance, could be interesting. This could be the bracket buster, with these type of seeds coming out of it. So,
yep.
And these are the teams that are hard to call, though, I think, because 7 to 9 seeds, you just don't know. I mean, 7 for Michigan State seems like a retread, like they're just an average team. But a 9 seed like FAU, they're up and coming. But see how it goes. All right, so we're in the Midwest number 1. All right, Woopah, where do we start?
So we can start at the top here. Houston and the North Kentucky Norse played kind of a close one. And yeah, it was starting to look like Houston, deserved to get kind of the skepticism they had from the start. Meanwhile, Iowa and Auburn, I didn't watch that game because I thought it would suck, and I don't know if it did or not.
It was not bad. I actually watched some of the second half. It was actually, I did not realize Iowa, unlike its football team and basketball, apparently does like to score points. And to see Auburn at 83 points was a very productive output for Auburn. And Auburn had not been playing that way or playing that well offensively. Let me go ahead and jump into the second round. They were up on Houston 41-31 at halftime. This Auburn offense, Auburn's a team that had only won 4 of 13 games. They had not won consecutive games in months, and yet they made it into the NCAA field. We talked about it. Should Auburn be in versus a Vanderbilt? And yeah, they beat Iowa, but maybe Vanderbilt might have actually been able to beat Houston. But that second game against Auburn-Houston, it was so dominating the first half. And you know what was sad as an Auburn fan? I'd been furious because they could not score. With 41 points in 20 minutes in the first half, then they had it took forever for them to get over 10 points in the second half. But they were bricking all their free throws. I mean, the one center getting fouled constantly. It was like hack-a-shack without intentionally hack-a-shacking. I mean, the guy couldn't hit. He was 56% on the season, but he was I'm going to try to pull up the stats real quick. So while while you're talking, and I'm trying to get the numbers. But I mean, it was embarrassing for a major college program. You know?
Yeah, and to let up 50 points in any half is really, really bad. That's not anytime you let up 50 points in 20 minutes, it's going to be hard to score no matter how good your defense was the other time. Or not to score. It's going to be hard to win no matter how good your defense was the other half of it.
And Auburn scored 23 points in the second half. But even though they gave up 50, a lot of those are free throws and garbage points, I think, at the end where Houston just extended it late. But the biggest problem was that Auburn could not score in the first 10 minutes of the second half. They're 5 of 16 from three-point range. Houston only hit 7 3-pointers. It wasn't like Houston was lights out either. But here's the difference. Houston was 24 or 29 from the free throw line, 83%. Auburn was 52.8%, 19 of 36. Houston out-rebounded Auburn 45 to 34. You get that type of production. I mean, they killed Auburn on the glass. If you're not going to score offensively, you've got to out-hustle and outplay the other guy. You really got to be on the defensive end and using your defense to set up your offense. It was Broom was a forward for Auburn, 6 of 16 on free throws. And he was dominating the boards in the second half on the offensive end, but he could not ever hit the free throws. And he missed them all during the time when Auburn went scoreless. So, free throw shooting will kill you. So, let me say hi real quick. Hey, Stunning and Brave. Hey, glad to see you. Welcome. We got sports ball. Glad to see you tonight, Stunning. Hey. All right, glad you could pop in a bit. So, people say that StreamYards is getting weird these days because it's like we've got 7 people watching on the YouTube side. Thank you all over there for hanging out and lurking. But it's like the StreamYard shows nobody's watching on. Have no live viewers on the. So StreamYards is getting weird tonight. So anyway, but hey, I digress. So. In the bottom half of the bracket, we had Miami putting away Drake Bulldogs in a 7-point game. Drake was actually a host site for some of the NCAAs this year. And Indiana played Kent State. Indiana wins 71-60. So that brought on the second round match with the Canes and the Hoosiers. And, Woopah, we talked last week about how good is the ACC, how good's, well, the ACC will beat the Big Ten. And this is another Big Ten team that's gone down in defeat. So I can't wait now to see how many Big Ten teams are left in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and it's interesting just from this whole this part of the Midwest. This is a very weird conference and kind of was my hardest to do predictions for because you look at Houston, they didn't, they won both, but not very convincingly. And you have Miami, they beat Drake. It was a lot closer than it should have been. And even that Indiana game, Indiana-Kent State was kind of close down the stretch when it really shouldn't have been. It's hard to say who is the who's really good out of this side, I guess. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. But I tell you, Miami, Jim Larinaga is the head coach. The guy that was coaching George Mason that year, they made a Cinderella run where the Gators went to repeat as national champions. And, I'll talk more about that a little bit when we make our predictions. But, you see, it was a close game for a little while, but then they pulled away in this game. Because, we were talking about this game, about my picks and stuff. And then I was like, I think at one point it was in doubt. The next thing it was over. So
yeah, it got out of hand after a while.
Yeah. This is a top part of a bracket where the second round games just stunk. Auburn was great until for the first half. You had a potential upset. And then second half, Auburn played typical bad SEC basketball. When the SEC, and I'll admit, when the SEC gets bad in basketball, it's bad. It's unwatchable. So let me say something real quick. Stunning said that there was an episode in the old Transformers cartoon where one of his Decepticons took over a football stadium. Good times. Oh my. Snortopoopas is still hanging in with you. Thank you for hanging with us, Snortopoopas. We enjoy always having the bear here. So, um, so yeah. Well, so this is the first part of the Midwest. We'll move on to the second part of the Midwest, which uh, Woopah, I got Pittsburgh at least right one more time, you know.
Yeah, you got them once.
But I tell you, they ran into Bud Saw. That was. I did not get to see the Xavier Kennesaw State game, but was that game as close as that score shows?
No, it was pretty close. It looked like Xavier was going to get the upset or was going to get upset for a while, but just they got a good shot to go in, and Kennesaw State tried to play the penalties and didn't work out for them.
Yep. And then Texas A&M just, I mean, for a number 2 seed of the SEC to be so highly talked about, and basically went out with a whimper. I mean, they weren't even close to Penn State. This is a rout, and
I expect them to do a lot better too, and that really screwed up my bracket.
Yeah. And then of course Texas marches on over Colgate, and then Texas holds off Penn State. That was a pretty good game though. Of the Midwest of the second round games, that Texas Penn State game was actually kind of competitive and fun to watch at times. It was close to the last few minutes. So it's but of course Texas pulled away and advances. So, but yeah.
And overall, a lot of interesting games. The Xavier Pitt game and the Penn State UT game were both fairly close. And yeah, I wonder how. I'm sure it's not the lowest ever, but only 100 points between Iowa State and Pittsburgh was pretty crazy. Iowa State
41 points
is a defensive team, and 41 points, that's got to be a season low for them.
Hey, listen, I love defense. I'm up and when I coach basketball, I want my players playing defense hard and rebounding to set up the offense. I mean, but still you got to score at some point. So, hey, but we got 7 people watching us on YouTube. We got 4 likes. Make sure you hit that like button when you're here with us. Share it out with your friends and we're on Twitch also. So, hey, we've covered several brackets right now, and so we're about to move on again, Woopah. So where are we going this time?
We're going to the West here.
Woo-hoo! Let's go out west, which was full of drama.
Yep. So, yeah, Kansas whipped up on Howard. Arkansas, Illinois, it was kind of close, but honestly, Arkansas had a lead for most of the game. St. Mary's and VCU did get close for a while, but St. Mary's ran away with it in the end, and Connecticut kicked Iona's butt. That was pretty simple.
Which would turn out to be, I guess, Rick Pitino's last game as Iona coach.
Yeah.
Because he's now taking the job at St. John's, which surprises me. I'm like, I would have thought Pitino would have taken a big school program. Not a job like St. John's. And one day St. John's would have been a good job. But let me say something real quick, because I see that Snortopoopas is leaving us. Not that one there. Time to tuck the old bear into bed. Have fun with the brisket ball. Absolutely, Snortopoopas. And hey, tomorrow night, since he's leaving tomorrow night, 7 p.m., the missus and I are going to do another Fortnite date night, or date night Fortnite. So hope to see you tomorrow night. And then on Wednesday night, I'm going to be talking Terminators with Daisy Blossom at 7 o'clock on a new thing we're going to call At the Movies. And then, of course, Friday, Woopah and I will be back for XFL football. So thank you for all your support, and we'll see you around. And if you come back later, maybe we'll talk about some brisket on the replay for you. So, always like to acknowledge Snortopoopas. He's a great guy out there, and keeps all the pests away from everybody. So Oh, or and his cousins in Czech. So, but yeah, and so again, my observation is, and I'm going to be curious to see what happens. Illinois, another Big Ten team, gone. Um, Big 12 still got a couple in, but I mean, some of the Big 12 teams, Baylor, Kansas, Iowa State are now gone. So it'll be interesting to see how the conferences hold out in the Sweet 16. But that Arkansas game, I tell you, there were times I thought the Pigs were done, and they didn't give up. They kept fighting, they kept scrapping, and they pulled it off. It was so crazy. The coach jumped up on the table and pulled his shirt off, swinging around. Then he led everybody in this pig suey thing with their hands up in the air and drop them, whatever that thing is. But hey, but yeah,
it was not. I don't think anyone was expecting Arkansas to win that game, but they did pull it off at one point.
yeah.
That UConn game.
Which going back a little bit, Arkansas was also one of those teams that the question about whether they deserve to get in. They finished down like Mississippi State and Auburn, but you see those two teams come in and Mississippi State really didn't show much, and Auburn did a little bit of something. But of all the three teams, the Pigs are the one that actually played 2 games in a row and move on, and we now find them in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go to the second side.
Mm-hmm.
So TCU pulled off a close one versus Arizona State. Looks like that might be an upset for a while. Mm-hmm. And Gonzaga handled Grand Canyon pretty easily.
Even though it ended up at 12 points. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Northwestern beat Boise State. That was a good game. Pretty close.
Right.
Despite the score. And UCLA kicked UNC Asheville's butt.
Yep.
And then both of these games were surprising. Well, I guess the first game not surprisingly close. The second game surprisingly close. Northwestern gave UCLA all they could handle. UCLA still winning, but I don't think anyone expected that one to be very close. Gonzaga and TCU was a close game. Actually, I think Gonzaga in the first half was pretty well ahead, but TCU in the second half came back. It wasn't until pretty much the last minute or so that Gonzaga pulled too far ahead for TCU to do anything with. Because that's actually that 84-81 score comes with TCU making a last-minute three-pointer. So, but it was a good game, that one. Both of these very close.
I saw the end of the Gonzaga game because there were a video review on that with them at TCU, but I did see a little bit more of the Northwestern game. Northwestern was pesky, but obviously they didn't have enough to actually keep up or hold up with the UCLA. So not a surprise there. Not a surprise. So this side of the bracket played out with the top seeds advancing. You got a 2 and a 3 seed advancing. And can you slide back to the first West one real quick? And then you got well, you know what? You would have had a 1 through 4 seeds advancing to Sweet 16 is what you expect, except for Kansas not holding serve. So yeah. So you got a 2, 3, 4, and an 8. But hey, we'll see. All right. Thanks for flashing back on that one. I just was curious how that goes. So
yeah. So do you want to move forward? Do you want to do like your 2 biggest surprises of the week, maybe?
Okay. We can do the surprises. Let's do the surprises and see what. Let's do it. Let's do 2 surprises and a biggest disappointment.
Okay.
So, let's see. Would you like to go first?
Sure. I think my biggest surprise was
and I wonder if we should just throw out the number 1 over 16th upset,
Yeah.
Because that's too easy to say.
I would say I don't know if this is much of a surprise, but it's kind of a surprise to me. I'm surprised that San Diego State made it. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise, but I mean, I picked Charleston to beat him. You picked Charleston to beat him. And they almost lost this game. So I really didn't expect them to make it to the Sweet 16, let alone even out of that first round matchup. But they did, and even won that second game by a pretty convincing score. So it's interesting. I know it's maybe silly to put a fifth seed as their biggest surprise, especially when they played a 13th seed in the second round. But I really didn't think San Diego State had it in them.
No, many times the fifth seeds that are from the lower conferences don't pan out, and they do lose in the early rounds. So, no, that's not a bad one. I think my first surprise that I have is, really is Princeton. I mean, still 15 seed, and not that Princeton beat Arizona, but the fact that they beat Missouri, that they're actually a 15 seed go into the Sweet 16. And if you look at the next game, they could have a chance with Creighton. So I view Princeton as a legitimate surprise. So
yeah, they looked good in that last game. So it's kind of interesting to see.
And I'll go ahead and I'll tell you my second surprise are the Arkansas Razorbacks coming from the SEC. A team that, let me say real quick, hey, Castle, welcome in. Yeah, got to get that homework done. Hey, but thanks, man. Thanks for coming and lurking. Yeah, but yeah, the Arkansas Razorbacks. I think the Pigs are a big surprise, not because they beat Illinois. Not because, I mean, they're in the Sweet 16. And you have Auburn, you have Mississippi State, you have other Kentucky, a higher seed, did better than SEC, supposedly more talented, has gone home, yet the Pigs are still alive. So that would be my second surprise. So what is your second surprise?
Let's see, I think I'm going to take – sorry, let me get back to the screen. I'm going to take Michigan State here just because, I mean, they are a historic franchise and they've had a lot of success still under Tom Izzo, but they've kind of flattened out a bit lately. In the last two seasons, they lost in the first four and lost in the second round. They're still a good team, but not the same level as they used to be. But here they still got it done and beat a Marquette team that I thought was pretty good. So it's interesting to see they could move on as well. I don't think it's a guarantee, but I think they've proven that they're not a team you can take lightly. So,
Yep. So if you had to pick one team that was a disappointment, and I again same rules here, throwing out the number one seed losing. But what would your biggest disappointment be?
Well, that's easy for me. It's Texas A&M I thought that they had a lot in them, and just to get blown out by Penn State right to start off, I think that's the biggest disappointment. I think a lot of people, including myself, expected more from them.
Yeah, to me the what I want to say is Auburn. I it's kind of a 1A and 1B. Auburn only because of the way they had a chance to advance and to knock off the number one seed, and it just laid a turd in the second half of that game. Just was not a way to end your season. But I would think probably in terms of a team that should be overall disappointed would be Marquette. I think coming as a 2 seed, you had a fairly favorable bracket. Yeah, Michigan State is a good team from a good conference, but I mean, you're a 2 seed. You played so well all year, and you should have things going for you and on your side. But they just laid in. We're really not even competitive against Michigan State. I didn't think so. That would be my other. It's kind of hard because I'm really anti-Auburn. So, and I tell you, Virginia is just too obvious a target. So, but
yeah, I didn't say Virginia just because I kind of expected them. Can't be disappointed if that's what you thought was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Well, we can go from there. Do you have a dark horse? Well, actually, we'll wait the dark horse. We'll do our picks and we'll talk about the dark horse. Okay.
Mhm.
So, all right.
Well, we've got the prediction results so far. From the first four, Dadman beat me by 1. He got 3 right. I got 2. And from the first round, we tied 23-9. But the second round, I have shown to be victorious so far. I
Three
got
games.
8-8, and Dadman went 5-11. So
That's
I
why
have a
we're
2
not.
game.
That's why we're not a gambling site. Don't ever trust me to pick winners. I do it for fun.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too. So 9 of these losses right here,
Mm-hmm.
23-9 is pretty good. But not, out of 9 of these losses, for each of us, 4 of them were pit teams we picked to win in the second round. So that definitely played into it there.
Yeah, not bad at
And
first round though. I mean,
yeah, not bad at all.
So,
but here I am. I'm in the lead with 33-19, but Dadman's close behind with 31-21. So
it ain't over yet. Yes.
That's where
All
we
right.
stand right now.
Yay. Nice graphic too, by the way.
Thank you. And now we can get into our predictions. Now that we've narrowed down the field, we only need 1 per region.
Okay.
So the South, for this first matchup, I think it's going to be pretty well, no, Dadman takes Alabama, and I'm taking Alabama. Alabama they went into it kind of the number 1 overall seed, so to speak, and they've looked really good, and I don't see a reason why they dropped to San Diego State here.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Then here, the second matchup, the 6 seed versus the 15 seed. Dadman's picking the Creighton Blue Jays, and I picked them as well.
Yep.
So we're in agreement here.
But I'll be cheering for Princeton.
Yeah, Princeton. I mean, if they make it, I'll be excited. I think they can make it, but I think Creighton's just looked good so far.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to bet against them.
Well, yep. So there's only so far you can go. Ultimately, talent wins out.
But here in the South, let's see for who's going to be punching their trip to the Final Four.
Yep.
Dadman's picking Alabama, and I'm picking Alabama as well. So we matched up here. Don't worry, that won't happen for everything.
All right,
but
we gotta have some drama.
Yeah, I think with this one, obviously, I think we all want Princeton to make it, but at some point, the 15 seed is probably going to lose, and Alabama just looks like the much better. They look like the best team right now. As much as I don't want them to be the best team, it seems like they are.
Mm-hmm. That's a popular opinion from other media, other areas around the country, even Tennessee. I know I've heard them comment on Alabama too. All righty, so we've got the South. No drama there. Pretty boring, but
yeah,
at least in terms of our predictions. So who knows? Maybe Princeton will make this next round interesting.
Yeah, that'll be probably one of the big games to watch
in
this next Sweet 16.
Okay. Now we're in the East. We got Florida Atlantic and Tennessee. So you want to go ahead and reveal who are each of our picks?
Yeah. So Dadman's picking Tennessee, and I'm picking Tennessee as well. I think they look pretty good, so I'm going with them.
Yeah.
The second,
I see. This is a danger game for Tennessee, I believe, because they should beat Florida Atlantic, being from the larger conference. But watching Florida Atlantic, and granted, they played Fairleigh Dickinson. They look good. They look athletic. This could be a danger game for Tennessee, though. So if you're going to have an upset out of the East, this could be the game.
Yeah, maybe. But
or this Sweet 16, this could be a big upset one right here.
Yeah, and for this next one, speaking of upsets, Dadman's taking Michigan State over Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
And I am taking Kansas State on my end. sticking with
Yeah.
the Big 12 here.
I'm still going. I'm going with defense and Sparty and coaching. But I tell you what, what I did not realize, Keontae Johnson is playing for Kansas State. He used to play for the Florida Gators a couple years ago, but he had collapsed on the court. And I thought he retired from basketball. I didn't know that he picked back up and went somewhere else. So it shows you how bad the Gator basketball program is. And he's dominating. He's a hell of a player. He's playing better at Kansas State than he ever did at Florida, which is a tribute to Mike White's coaching, who's now at Georgia. But that's another issue. So,
yeah, he's been playing well, and I think Kansas State. I think they've just been a pretty good team. Mm-hmm. I know Michigan State's having a good run, but I'm gonna go stick with Kansas State here. They've been pretty good all year long.
And it comes down to what type of game. This, to me, is one of those games that comes down to who controls the tempo. If you get offense, if you get more running, Kansas State's probably going to run away with it, like Big 12 teams can do, except for Iowa State, obviously. But I think Michigan State, if they can slow it down, make it more physical, pounding the boards, grinded out offense, then the tempo could favor them. So, tempo is going to mean a lot.
Interesting. Their point guard is 5'8", so.
Dadgummit. That's just a few inches taller than Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah.
And Spud Webb. So, hey, I could be their point guard. Woohoo! All righty. So we've got in the East, we both agree on Tennessee, and then we split on Kansas State, Michigan State. So we got one game in the Sweet 16 where we have a difference. All right. So then who do we have advancing to the Elite Eight?
Or this is a Final Four here.
A Final Four. I'm sorry. To get to the Final Four. I keep getting the division, the numbers. So, all right, we both agree Tennessee. So, and then.
Yeah. So we do both picking Tennessee here. It's tough. Honestly, this was a tougher one for me to pick. I don't know if Tennessee makes it. I'm picking them based on. I don't know. It felt like the right one to pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas State takes this one on my end.
You know what,
Dadman, you're thinking?
Tennessee. Like I said, I'll just go ahead and say it now because I was going to talk about dark horse. To me, Tennessee's is really the big unknown type of team. They've had so many expectations. They've had so much pressure, and with this huge loss to the point guard so late in the season. They're having to shift and adapt now on the fly. I could see them losing to Florida Atlantic very easily because of some of the inconsistencies. I can see them losing to either Kansas State or Michigan State. So they've got to really function at their best. They can't afford to turn the ball over, make mistakes, or get out physical to out hustled. So, but to me, the difficulty with them is they could be really, really good or they could fall apart. It just. Unlike Alabama, they're going through, or some of the other teams that we see, they don't have those weaknesses. Tennessee is Tennessee's vulnerable, I think, but I think that they don't have as many expectations. I think when you get even a 7th seed Michigan State nationally would have more expectations on them than seeing a Tennessee's team, in a matchup like that. Kansas State, Big 12, because I do think the SEC is not respected as a basketball conference, and there's reasons why for that whole that appearance. Because the SEC, we look at teams like Texas A&M, first round go, Auburn chokes, Mississippi State chokes, Kentucky crashes, so things like that. But I will tell you, hey, while we're doing this, I want to say we got. If you're on Twitch, follow us. We got 8 people watching us on the YouTube side. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like. We're at 5 likes, but hit that like, share it out with your friends. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. We're trying to get 2 more subs for 180. And a great Woopah Troopah here, my buddy for basketball, and on Friday night XFL talk, these amazing graphics. Thank you. But here's what I'm willing to do, Woopah.
All right.
I'm insane. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did a 24-hour stream for 100 people, right? For 100 subs. I will tell you, and I know this place where I can go to do it. God, should I do it for national championship or should I do it for Final Four? How crazy? Which one do you think is crazier? Just making the Final Four or a national championship game?
I don't know. It depends on what you're about to tell me.
Well, it's probably more likely. Would you like to see it happen? More than likely, maybe. How about if Tennessee? If it's more likely to happen, then I'm more likely to do it. So, you think that they could go all the way to national championship or reach Final Four?
Who, Tennessee?
Yeah.
Uh, I think Final Four probably, just
Okay.
because I know if they make it, based on what we've predicted, we're both predicting an Alabama-Tennessee matchup, and
Yep.
I mean
Well, guess what?
Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama Tennessee matchup, right? A repeat an SEC match. Well, you know what? I'm going to try to offer this. If Tennessee makes the Final Four, I'm going to go sing Rocky Top. I know the channel. I know the place to go sing it because I've done it once before. So if Tennessee makes the Final Four, I will go sing Rocky Top on a karaoke show.
Oh
Ramblin'
man,
Canuck. I'll do it. I'll do it. So hey, I'm crazy. I'll do silly stuff. So, but hey, we'll see what happens. All right. So you heard it here. It's taped. I can't deny it now. I wonder if Castle heard that one because he can get back to the source. But hey, oh, that's
yeah, he
awesome.
won't let you forget that one.
No, not at all. But hey, it's cool. All right, so we've got an Alabama Tennessee Final Four prediction on this side of the bracket between the South and the East. Where we go now?
We're going to the Midwest here, which is probably the most. I think it is the most normal, quote unquote, Sweet 16. You got a 1, 2, 3, and 5. So,
Yep.
And we're starting off with the 1 versus 5. Dadman's taking the U. I'm sticking with Houston here. So
Houston's shown enough propensity to lag a bit. I will say they out hustled and out fought Auburn in the second half, but also then Auburn couldn't hit free throws. Auburn was taking bad shots too. I think Jim Lenega and his coaching experience comes through, and Miami's athletic. They are from the ACC, even though it's a down ACC. You still, have the U to advance.
yeah, I am picking. Sorry, I'm picking Houston just because I think they do have a lot of talent. Even though it's been close, Miami also had a one where they almost lost to Drake there. It's hard to say. Houston has some of their players playing banged up. I'm wondering, I don't know for sure, but I'm wondering by the time we get to Thursday or Friday, are they going to be, a little bit healthier? And if so, I think that'll add a little bit extra for them. But then moving on to this next matchup, Dadman's picking Texas over Xavier.
Hook 'em horns.
And I'm picking Texas as well.
Yeah.
Even though it pains me to hear you say that.
I only said it just because I know what they say. I did the little hand motion thing too. So
did you do the horns down? That's what you're supposed to do.
Horns down. I don't know. But I wouldn't cry if Xavier won the game either, though. So
I didn't expect Xavier to be here in the first place. Honestly, I just don't have a lot of faith in him. I'll just say that.
Nope, no argument here. So,
but yeah, that's one of our. I think it's only. That's the only two Big 12 teams left: Texas and Kansas State.
Right, and there's two SEC teams also.
SEC teams that we've seen so far. We're picking both the SEC teams to go to the Final Four. But what about this one? Who are we picking here? Dadman's picking the U to beat Texas. So the 5th seed going to the Final Four for Dadman. And I picked Houston again. So we're both doubling down, and whoever wins this 1 to 5 matchup is who we think is going to move forward.
Absolutely. So ride it all. I just don't trust Texas. I don't. Xavier, like you said, they've run the ride as far as they can. It's it's about time for Xavier. It was a surprise they made it this far, but even as a 3, but
Yeah, this was a little tough for me. I think all 4 of these teams have some shortcomings and have had some struggles in their matchups, and all 4, I
no.
think you can make it. Well, I'll say 3. I don't think Xavier has a good case to make it, but Texas, Miami, and Houston, all 3 were like, well, I could see how all of them could make it. So I kind of just went with Houston because I'm banking on if they get those guys healthy again, I think that that'll help them a lot. But we'll see.
Yep.
So there we go. Our first Final
right.
4 that we disagree on.
Yep. Should be interesting. So we've got one more region to cover.
Yep, we're going
and it's the
with
West.
here. So we got the 2, 3, 4, and then number 8.
Well, hey, one quick observation, real quick. If I'm correct, going into Sweet 16, then there are 3 SEC teams out of the 16 left. There's 2 Big 12 and only 1 Big 10 team.
Yep.
It's like amazing.
It's
had
the most going into this. I think Big 10 had 9.
Wow.
SEC had 8 if you count Mississippi State, and the Big 12 had 7. So
well, it's kind of odd because, like I said, the SEC is not known for its basketball, and really it can be bad basketball, but it's kind of like feast or famine. The teams that are good, but even, your Tennessee, your Alabama, they're good. They play good basketball, but even then, Tennessee's inconsistent. Arkansas, I mean, how you finish middle of the pack in the SEC, yet now you're still alive in the Sweet 16 shows that they have talent. And just putting it together at the right time. And that's what tournament basketball is all about are you getting hot? Are you playing well at the right time?
So. And something that's maybe interesting too, let me pull this up. In the NIT even, there's one Big 10. In the final 8, there's 1 Big 10, 1 SEC, and 1 Big 12. And even if you're looking at it, Vanderbilt beat a Big 10 team to make it there. So I'm kind of making stuff up at this point. I just thought it's
okay.
interesting.
That was cool. That's cool. Some improvise on the fly. Yep. So we have Arkansas, Connecticut. This is an interesting 8-4 matchup. So not who Connecticut expected to see. If you're a Connecticut coach or fan, you're kind of happy with that. So let me say hi real quick to Liam Graywolf over on the Twitch side. Hey, Liam.
Hello.
How are you tonight? Good to see you. And the great Daisy Blossom. Hey.
Hey, Daisy.
All right. Good to see both of y'all tonight too. So thank you. Yeah, this counter thing up on StreamYard is definitely glitched because it's not now. It's wrong on how many people are watching on the Twitch side. But hey, I've heard complaints about StreamYards lately, but hey, it's working. And you people are out here. We love it. 7 on the YouTube side and at least 3 or 4 over on the, we got at least 3 or 4 over on the Twitch side. So thank you all for being here. Make sure you follow, hit like, or subscribe wherever you are watching from. All right. So our final bracket, Arkansas, Connecticut. I tell you, if I was a Connecticut fan, I would love it. I'd be happy. Hey, you got here just when you got here. So, but yeah, I'd be like, if I was a 4 seed, I'd be ecstatic. But
I'd say it's funny you say that because I know who you picked, and you picked Arkansas in this game.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, the Pigs are athletic. They're talented. They can out hustle. Watching the way they fought Kansas and beat Kansas, I mean, they out hustle them. If they play with that same type of intensity, I don't see why they can't beat Connecticut.
Well, I'm taking Connecticut here. There's something I learned a while ago. It's not, don't bet against the Huskies. They do well, and they've played in both of their games now. They've put up convincing wins, so I think they've got a lot of momentum going into this.
Absolutely. They definitely they've been historically a good tournament team, and that's why you don't count them out. But it's Arkansas. it's got to come with its best game, because if they struggle like they've done in other games in conference this year, you're gonna there'll be a quick. This could be an ugly game if Arkansas falls behind early. So it just I don't. Arkansas will either stay in, be competitive, use their athleticism, or I think Kentucky UConn will just probably wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, that's what I'm counting on.
Yeah.
But you'll see here, Gonzaga and UCLA. Dadman's picking UCLA, and I'm picking UCLA as well. I don't think Gonzaga is quite. I think they're a little overrated. They close game versus TCU, and UCLA had a close game theirs as well. I just don't think Gonzaga has quite what it takes, personally.
Mm-hmm. Nope,
But
I agree with that.
So we've got our final four prediction here from the West. Let's see. Dadman's taking the Bruins to make it to there as a second seed.
Yeah, I just don't think Arkansas's got the. They just don't have the talent. I mean, at this point, athleticism can carry you so far. But I've seen UCLA play a few times, and they just, yeah. So it's an interesting situation with that matchup. I do think that Arkansas's end runs, you won't have 3 SEC teams in a Final Four.
That would be very impressive. I mean, even getting 3 in the Elite Eight would be very impressive. But
exactly. So,
but, for my pick, like I said, you never doubt the Huskies, baby. I'm picking the Huskies to go. I just think they've looked like a very complete team. I don't think it's a guarantee that they beat UCLA, but I don't know if this counts for them picking them as a dark horse, but I think they, with the current makeup of how everything's gone, with obviously Kansas losing on this side, and UCLA and Gonzaga both having close games in the second round. On the other end, all of the Midwest teams kind of having something that not having the best resume. I think UConn might have a pretty good chance to make it, not just to the Final Four, but to the finals here.
Yeah, absolutely. Old vestiges of the old Big East Conference and Daisy Blossom with the basketballs.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Yeah, I'm having to multitask on something real quick. So,
no
but
problem.
it's going to be interesting. I will say, the West could be a fun bracket with these type of matchups. I think you could either have some really, really good games, or we could have some bad games, or just it depends what we'll get. In the end of it, in the end. So I mean, but it's funny that you took UConn over UCLA, because I just think it's funny that that's what happened. With this, I kind of expected you to go UCLA, but hey, 4 seeds have been known to do it.
I have a little bit of maybe too much trust in the Huskies, but I do think when you're looking at teams that kind of, I don't want to say had it easy, I just want to say made it look easy for not just one game but 2 games. Honestly, you only have 2 in the Sweet 16. You only have 2 candidates, I think, and that would be Alabama and Connecticut. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, because let me look at Alabama did play a 16 seed and then an 8 seed, but UConn played a 13 seed and a 5 seed, made easy work of all of them. So I'm feeling confident in their abilities to keep on going.
Yep. So, you know, you never know though. Gonzaga could actually knock off UCLA here, though.
That
You know.
might be true. I've just I don't know. Ever since 2021 when we beat them,
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust Gonzaga. Maybe I just like to make fun of them because they made it to the national championship when we beat them by 18. Like I thought this was going to be a challenge, but
Exactly. Exactly. So, all righty. No, that's interesting. Hey, all right. AFK comes in, nerds.
yeah,
Nerds. All right. Welcome, AFK.
we've got a lot of activity.
Mudkips versus dire wolves.
Mudkips would win that one. I think I
Ah,
can say that safely.
is that a Pokemon?
Yes,
Okay.
he's one of the
Well, what
best Pokemons.
in dire wolves is that another Pokemon type?
I don't think that's a Pokemon type, but I
Ah,
don't need to know what dire wolves are to know that Mudkips would win. That's all I can say.
there you go. And that, but see, Daisy Blossom, I'm out to prove that nerds do like sports ball. And Woopah will help me because listen, we can nerd out on statistics, numbers, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So we can make it really nerdy. Like Liam does here. So, yep, absolutely nerds. Yes, nerds rule. We stay together, guys. Hey, hey. So, thank you all for being here. Hey, kind of picked up here at the end. Yeah, I appreciate you. Well, I can multitask a little bit. So, uh,
Mhm.
got to do something here. You know, making some channel announcements. So, oh no, you're not distracting. Hey, we love distractions around here. You know, I love distractions. It keeps us on our toes. So that's what's so fun for distractings. Distractings. I can't even talk now. So, but yeah, yeah. Thank you everybody on the Twitch side. There you go. There you go. Squirtle, Squirtle. Thank you.
Squirtle, Squirtle. There you go.
Yes.
That's my Squirtle impression.
Squirtle, 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 Squirtle. Oh
I don't know
man.
what that is.
No, I don't either. But hey. Oh my gosh. But hey. Yes, more distractions, but we love the distractions. It's great to have people in the chat. It says we got 4 over on the Twitch side and nobody on the YouTube side, but I know we got people on the YouTube side. That's what's so funny. So, because I think StreamYards is going on strike or something tonight. That's what's kind of crazy. Ooh, shoot! I closed something I didn't mean to. There you go. But hey, yeah, I'm pushing buttons. That's what's always dangerous. So, yeah. Hey, yeah, you guys on the YouTube side, the Twitch side, go round me up one more follower over there. We'll get to 75 on that side.
Woo.
Now we Pokemon battle breaks out. Daisy Blossom throwing down the Pikachu, Pika Pika. So and we
Hey,
got 6 watching.
I'm
Go
a
ahead.
ground type. Pikachu can't hurt me.
There you go. Oh,
Oh,
man.
Mew. I love Mew. Mew's my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that that's a, I think that's, what's her name? I can't believe I forgot.
Oh,
X-Ray Girl. That's an X-Ray Girl emote.
oh,
The Pikachu with the gun.
oh, really? Oh, wow. Oh, that's too funny. Oh my gosh, that's what's beautiful with the Twitch side. You know, all the little emotes and
Mhm.
uh, things that you can do over there. I think there's more than there's on the YouTube side. But hey, you know what? We grow. And maybe one day we'll monetize. Then we can do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and that's X-Ray Girl. There you go. Daisy Blossom with the
Haha.
Pikachu. AFK again. So wow. Oh, is that cheese? Is that stinky cheese? Because I thought it was brown at first. So anyway, I thought it was something else. But so Woopah, we've got 3 SEC teams left in the Sweet 16, 1 Big 10, 2 Big 12. I mentioned my dark horse team being Tennessee, and if I said that if Tennessee made the Final Four, I'd sing Rocky Top publicly. Do you have a dark horse? I mean, maybe a team that we've not picked, or do you have a slide with our Final Four coming up?
Let's see. I mean, look back. If I had to pick a dark horse,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's hard to say because I don't know. Like I think Princeton could make it to the Elite Eight. I know we talked about that, but I don't think they could beat Alabama. I
Yeah.
I I have faith in Kansas State that they can make it for sure, but I already picked them once. I guess I mean either of these teams. I think Tennessee's going to handle Florida Athletic. I know you mentioned that as something. I just wonder, even though I picked them, I wouldn't be surprised if either Kansas State or Michigan State takes this Final Four spot instead of Tennessee. I think that might be uh, what I would pick. I don't know if that counts since we did each pick one of them to make the Elite Eight, but
No, I think it counts if you take either FAU or Kansas State because you did not have them go into the Final Four, and that's kind of what I was looking at. See, my dark horse is Tennessee, and I've got them all the way to the Final Four, but I'm kind of it's a dark horse. They could beat Alabama. What Tennessee team we get, and that's why I
no,
kind of
that's the
consider them a
thing.
dark horse. Is they could either lose to Florida Atlantic, they could beat Alabama. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of. I'm wondering because to me, if I'm picking, I think Kansas State and Michigan State, as far as predictions go, I think that would be who I'm picking as a dark horse that I didn't pick. I already talked about UConn. If I was a betting man, which I know we say we're not a betting service, and you saw our predictions, so we shouldn't be a betting service.
No.
Uh, if I was to, make a bracket based off this Sweet 16, I'd pick UConn in the finals right now. I don't know if I'm not going to say they would win, but I'm picking
Mm-hmm.
them in the finals. I
Yeah.
think Alabama's definitely making the Final Four, and I think the Midwest. It's just there's too much uncertainty. I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in Xavier, but other than that, like I think all three of the remaining teams have a shot. I don't think I can pick one a dark horse because I don't think one's a favorite in the first place. I'm kind of just throwing darts. So if I had to pick a dark horse, I think I'd pick either Kansas State or Michigan State. I think even though we
Mm-hmm.
both predicted Tennessee here, I think both whoever wins that matchup could be in the Final Four. And I mean, I don't know if they could take on Alabama. I think Kansas State could do a good job. Kansas State is a pretty good school overall. They've had their ups and downs, but their ups have been pretty up, I guess you can say. So
Yeah. I would say that Kansas State is a team I fear. I do coming out of that bracket. If I was Tennessee, that's probably. I think Tennessee would rather probably face Michigan State in that old school style play than the aggressive, more up tempo Big 12 style with Kansas State. Because I've seen Kansas State, they can put some points up, and and look at what they did with uh, Kentucky. Late at the end of the game, it just there's a just a you know it's a what could happen. I do think UConn has a good draw, a good bracket, so they could be another one that could come out and make a run further than you think. I think Alabama probably has the easiest setup though. Um, so
yeah, I'd say I'm penciling Alabama in just because if Princeton wins, I don't think they can beat Alabama. If Creighton wins, I don't think they can beat Alabama either, really, but maybe a better chance. And San Diego State, I didn't expect them to win one game, so I'm not going to expect them to win this game either. Uh, I think that's going to be. I think that's the easiest. That's why I think our predictions. The South was kind of quick, just because everyone on there is. It's pretty much going how you expect. I don't think there's anything too crazy on there.
yeah, I don't think anybody there can challenge Alabama this year. I just in that bracket that's left, but you never know. That's why you still play the games. You know,
Yeah.
because you never know what happens. And yes, absolutely. Thanks to Woopah Troopa for the graphics tonight. You got
Oh,
quite a few
shucks.
compliments out there about the excellent charts from
Well, thanks,
AFK, from
guys.
Daisy Blossom, and then Leon throws in football and soccer goals.
Cool.
Well, no, that could we're going to make that basketball. That's a 3-point symbol, a 3-point signal with a goal for basketball. How about that?
Oh yeah, look, I mean it's orange, right? So that counts
Mm-hmm.
as a basketball.
Exactly. So it's pretty interesting. So Yeah, Liam, we'll take the jokes and we'll turn them around. We are that crafty. So, oh man, so we made it through. So basically we have. Can you recap who we both have in the final four then before we sign
Yeah,
off?
so right now in the South, we both are picking Alabama. And so I guess I can recap what we're predicting for the Final Four matchup is uh, we both have Alabama versus Tennessee in the left side of the bracket for the Final Four. And then in the right side, the Midwest versus the West, Dadman is picking the U versus the UCLA, and I'm picking Houston versus UConn. So two of the same, two different. Will be interesting to see how that goes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and then we'll be back here next Monday night to go over the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight action. Review it, preview the Final Four, uh, and let's see the national championship game predictions. Because then the following Monday night will be the national championship game, I believe, if I'm correct. So we may have to do a special Sunday stream or something, or
Yeah,
we'll have to
I didn't know
figure
if you
that
wanted
out.
to do a Sunday stream for that or a Tuesday or something stream for that. We wanted to do a preview or a recap.
Uh, we'll have to talk about see what we feel like because we could do a Saturday night stream too, and make we'll work that out. I think I'd like to do a preview and we can do a recap. But hey, we'll cross that bridge when we got there. But hey, we've had a great time tonight with all these wonderful people. We've had lots of people come in, and great to see the Twitch side. All you guys over on the Twitch side coming through. Thank you um, for keeping that side active. Like I said, grab one of your friends. Let's get 75 on that side. We need 2 more subs on the YouTube side to get to 180. So let's get there. 200 I drink subs on the YouTube side. I've got a soda that I drink. So and then if they make Final Four, then Tennessee does. Then I sing Rocky Top. So and before we say goodnight, Woopah, did you have anything else to say?
No, I don't think so. I'm happy to be here. But see you Friday. See you next Monday.
Yeah.
And as always, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Woopah. If you want to see it, I made a lot of videos in last month. I haven't made much this month, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to try and make a stream clip while I'm busy. So I guys have something on there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe, please.
Absolutely. Give me 1 second, and I'll since I'm doing this, I'll see. I'll give me a second. I'll throw your link out in the chat for people. So just need a second. So yeah, your shorts. Are you still doing the XFL shorts or not?
Not anymore. I went to since we started doing the show, I was just focusing on that. I figured it's more fun to do that than try to rush
Yeah,
to get a little short up.
absolutely. Well, there's Woopah Troopah's YouTube link out there. Go subscribe. Go check out his videos and other stuff. What I'm going to say real quick though is, a couple program notes for what we've got coming up, and I'm going to try to bring these up in the proper order. Let me see. Let me do this all. Let's see. I've got to do it slowly so I can do this right and don't do something silly. Um, Hopefully, y'all still here with me. And there we go. Here we go. And tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Fortnite date night with the misses. So join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. It'll be on the YouTube side. So, because like I said, my PS4 only goes to either or. We're trying to get to 200 actually now, but we'll get to 180 first subs on the YouTube side. So join us for a special Mr. and Mrs. date night tomorrow night. Will it be the 2 of us running around, playing like an old married couple, blowing stuff up or doing whatever, or I'm going around in circles, whatever, happens that we do. So join us tomorrow night for that. And then on Wednesday night, I have something really, really, really special that, and I put the tweets out wrong because I had the wrong title in the tweets. Uh, but anyway, I'll fix it. This is what it should be. It's a wonderful new segment called "Let's Talk Movies." Do you like movies? We're going to talk about specifically this Wednesday night. We're going to talk about Terminators, the early seasons, the early ones, Terminator, Terminator 2, and Terminator 3. And my guest will be none other, and I'm completely honored by having this guest on, none other than the kind, gracious Daisy Blossom Flower Child. I I think this is going to be awesome. A great time to hang out, talk about what we like with this movie, these movies and stuff. Woopah, you've seen these, right?
Uh, I have not.
You've not seen. You've
I
not
have
seen.
not.
Oh my!
I am. There's a lot of movies I haven't watched. I have watched The Princess Bride a long time before you did.
Yeah, I did watch that lately though. Yay!
I
got
actually
that off.
watched it recently too. It's a great
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
But there's a surprising amount of movies that I haven't watched, and
yeah.
Terminator movies are one of them.
Well, the earlier ones are the better ones. The one that started all, you can tell you can tell the animation. It just these are the classic ones. Actually, 3 is kind of borderline, according to people. I like 3 a lot, but 2 is the one most people consider the best. I like the first one better than 2, but that's just me. But it was really cool. I won't spoil it for tomorrow night, but especially when Terminator 2 came out, it was really, really cool the way they marketed it and all. So, but we'll talk about that tomorrow night with Daisy Blossom, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. And then, of course, on Friday night, as Woopah mentioned, Friday night at 7, we're going to be back on our XFL for some more pro-ish football. So,
oh yeah, it'll be fun. Hopefully a short little stream. I can tell you there's gonna be an appearance from hold on. Let me see if I have him. I don't I was looking to see if I had an avatar loaded up. I don't, but there's gonna be an appearance from Angry Woopah for sure.
oh man,
There's some.
is there such a thing as Angry Woopah? I didn't know that was possible.
There is an Angry Woopah out there. Sorry, I'm trying to sift through all my my stuff to see if I can find them. Shoot.
We don't like Angry Woopah. But I
No
think
one
the way the
wants
game
the
went the
Angry
other
Woopah.
day, I think the other day with the way the game went, it probably was let the Angry Woopah out.
Oh, there's a lot of yelling.
Yeah.
A lot of yelling on my part. There's the well, I mean, we'll get to it, but I'll just say, not happy with a lot of the calls that were made.
Yeah.
By the refs. I'm not a fan. Here's Angry Woopah. He's ticked off, man.
Oh my gosh.
He's angry, Woopah. Don't make Woopah angry, man. He's gonna get upset.
I didn't know there was such a thing as Angry Woopah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, well, hey, join me tomorrow night with the missus at 7 p.m. For some date night Fortnite. Wednesday night Daisy Blossom will look at Terminator movies, and Woopah on Friday night. Of course, keep track with me on Dadman Walking 55 on Twitter for the latest of stream announcements. There is the possibility that I will be doing a Fortnite stream tonight. So in a few minutes, I may be doing some Fortnite tonight. It just depends on how I feel. I really would like to try to get to 180 weekend and just hang out with people a little bit more. And oh no, Daisy said, oh no, not Angry Woopah.
Oh yeah.
So absolutely. So hey, yeah, no, not Angry Woopah. I agree. Fortnite. All right. Well, Liam, if you're up to playing, I might, if you're around, I'm probably going to go AFK if you're still here. Have some fun a little bit. It's a maybe. I'll let you know. Just look for the notifications. So, got to check on a few things before I do anything else. But hey, first of all, Woopah, thank you for your time tonight. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. As always, I always love talking about college basketball and any other sports stuff.
I know you're a rare breed out there on Twitter and the circles we run to have people that actually like sports. At least I know Daisy knows a little bit about basketball. So that's always good. So okay, well, thanks again, Woopah. We'll see you Friday night, and folks, hope to see y'all next stream whenever it is. Make sure you tell your friends, retweet the tweets, get them over there, and let's just keep growing and let's have fun together. Above all else, drop
Mm-hmm.
our problems and our worries and just come in and have fun and like we did tonight. And there's a crazy chat that we had. So thank you all, and y'all have a wonderful night. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.